And then I think the only other sort of community thing is after our town hall was finished being remodeled, there was a group of people who were involved in creating, I think, the celebration for that event, who then went on to form a, what's the Sandwich Town Hall Preservation Board. Trust. Thank you, Paula. And my partner and I, Tobin, got involved in that, and it's a wonderful experience. Basically, we're charged with, a lot of people maybe don't realize this, but when you do a preservation with CPC money, you have to preserve the building back to what it was. And even though we would have maybe liked to have more office space on the second floor, the fact that the second floor was built as an auditorium, essentially in response to the separation of church and state, because until that time, most town meetings were taking place in a church, and I think there was a move afoot to say we need to separate our government workings from any church. So that auditorium was built for the purpose of town hall and also for entertainment. So there were silent movies, and the piano that was used to play at those silent movies was still sort of pushed to a corner of the building, and there was, I think, this group of people, John Shaw and Frank Panorfi and Patrick Ellis and I think Melinda Gallant and a bunch of people, also saw the value of that piano and restoring the piano. And so we as a trust have managed to actually, so they fixed up the piano, but then we as a trust basically ended up with an endowment for that piano. When Jill Haley passed away, her husband Dan approached us and said he would love to do something to commemorate his wife, and so he gave us basically a donation that we've put in a designated fund that only serves to maintain that piano. And then in the meantime, we discovered that another part of our charge is to see that the town hall remains in good condition, and we raised money for that, and to also provide entertainment upstairs, because who at town hall is going to have the time for that? And yet it's this beautiful auditorium. So we have done things like donated lighting and sound equipment and fixed the wooden floors, and we have, I think the curtains were a donation from the trust. And we also try to, provide some entertainments up there. And so joining the Sandwich Town Hall Restoration Trust, or Preservation Trust, I should say. We're online. I think it's $15 a year, and really one of the great benefits of membership is the fact that you'll get an email once a month that tells you not just something that we might be producing, but that anyone who's producing an event at Town Hall, it's a really good way to learn about it. And
Don Bailey makes that beautiful.
yeah, and Don Bailey does that website from Florida for us. He was he used to live in town and moved away, but he does a great job of maintaining a monthly newsletter that will tell you what's going on at Town Hall. Another thing we discovered was that performers really didn't want to perform to the old stand-up silent movie piano, and that they we needed a baby grand piano, or we needed to rent one every time somebody, with a really quality voice, like Gene Prendergast, wanted to perform. So lo and behold, we set out to look at the idea of actually purchasing a baby grand, a used baby grand somewhere, and through that search, and I can't remember quite how it happened, but a woman from Down Cape got in touch with us and said, I have a baby grand that I would like to donate to you. So we now have a baby grand piano in the Town Hall, up in Town Hall Auditorium. It's called the, I'm spacing out the name of the stage, the Glasstown Stage, thank you. And so now we have a grand piano that's in place up there for performers, and that's proved to be a great asset, and we've done a lot of good programming that's included that, so we're proud of that. And then I think that is probably it. I think that's about all of my, my full song and dance.
That's